Hey, I'm Michael Artsis. Welcome to the Michael Artsis Show. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm in Bethesda, Maryland at the house of Captain Ben Harrow. He's a good friend of mine. We go way back. We lost touch over several years, but the last few days we've spent some time together. We got on the ice together.
Yep.
And I came down here to share your story with the Terrifics. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to say hi to all the Terrifics. You guys are terrific. You make BeTerrific special, and you can reach us on social media at BeTerrific TV. I can't use the Slack chat right now because I'm using my phone to do this broadcast. We've tried everything. We've got 20 cameras set up here. We're using an iPhone. So it's very high tech here.
I should give him my Twitter feed and tweet what this looks like right now.
you should. But we did do a very serious interview with you and your wife Gina earlier today. We shot some footage. And we're going to follow you at the Triumph Games next week. We'll talk all about that stuff. But thank you for welcoming us into your home.
Yeah, thanks for coming down to Maryland.
So you are tough. First of all, you're the toughest, bravest, most courageous guy I've ever met in my life.
Thanks.
You were a tough guy. You still are a tough guy. And you went and defended our freedom in Iraq and in Afghanistan. You became a captain in the Special Forces. Mm-hmm. And then you were injured really severely in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I got injured 15 May 2012. I stepped on a pressure plate IED, which resulted in the loss of both my legs, significant soft tissue loss to my right arm, and lost 2 fingers in my right hand, as well as both my eardrums were blown out. They had to get fixed too, but numerous other injuries, concussions, and it's been a long road to recovery, but I'm doing well.
I'm really proud of you because not only did you make it through, and you had to fight to make it through.
Yeah.
But that you also didn't just say, okay, well, I could take a government check and do that. You're a positive impact on society. You're giving back. You inspire people not only by being on BeTerrific and talking to people like this, but you do public speaking. You're a great role model for your kids. And you've basically taken your life back. I was talking to Gina earlier, and she said, it's a new normal, but it's really kind of back to normal.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously it's an adjustment, and there's an adaptability piece, but I'm still just living my life, to the fullest. I've never kind of half-assed anything, and I'm continuing to go 110%, whether that's with legs or without.
The one thing Gina and I talked about, and you weren't there for her interview, I did that kind of on purpose. I think it would have been a different interview if you were there. Was that you're really the same Ben Harrow you were that I met in probably middle school, with your long, except for the long hair.
Yeah.
And the same Ben Harrow she met in middle school.
Honestly, like I tell everybody, or excuse me, Gina tells everybody when they ask her, how's Ben doing? She says it's Ben. It's just Ben without legs, and I haven't let my injuries, get the best of me, and like you're telling the audience, how you knew me before is how you know me now, and as hard as it may be to believe, I didn't keep my determination and heart in my ankles. I don't have any legs, but I'm still going to, do 100% in athletics, whether that's sled hockey, whether I'm going to give back and help push medicine and get other people out of their wheelchairs and walking from developing what I had research to do for myself. I'm going to keep going.
So part of your story is that they told you you'd never walk again. You'd be in a wheelchair the rest of your life, and you didn't accept that.
Correct. I wasn't. That wasn't acceptable to me. So much of my right femur got blown off in the blast that I couldn't wear regular length prosthetics, and it would fall off. So I did my own research. I discovered that women in Russia and China paid to get their shin bones broken and stretched out, and that allowed them to get a couple of inches on their shin bone. So I figured if they can do that to a shin bone, why can't they do that to a femur? So I took that idea to the doctors here at Walter Reed, and they directed me to the doctors at Johns Hopkins, who then directed me to a doctor up in Minnesota. And the doctor in Minnesota did a procedure where he used a non-FDA approved device at the time to stretch out my femur after he broke it. And fast forward 11 months, I set 2 medical world records for the shortest femur ever lengthened and the most bone regenerated, which was almost 6 inches.
And, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
How hard was it to get the doctors, even the guy without the FDA approved thing, to do this? And how hard is it when you say, okay, I'm going to do something that's not FDA approved?
There was some, like anything else with the government, there was some paperwork that had to be done, but I signed off on that, and it really wasn't that much of a hassle. There's a clause with the FDA where if it somehow improves your living situation or your health situation, the FDA will allow for the procedure, so it wasn't that difficult. But, obviously it was a long road, almost a year's worth of surgeries and recovery, and stretching and everything that comes along with that, of lengthening the bone. That was the difficult part. But at the end of the day, it's not just, like I said, it's not just myself getting up out of my wheelchair and walking and be able to live my life again. Because I did that research and I helped push it with the help of one of the doctors at Walter Reed, it's now a procedure that they do at Walter Reed. So people don't have to go all over the country. They can do it here. And actually, two of my teammates, one of which you met last night, that guy, Ralph D. Quebec, he did a bone lengthening process also, and you saw him. Now he's up and walking too, where before the same deal, he couldn't wear prosthetics, and they kind of gave him the, life in a wheelchair ain't too bad.
Yeah, and look, I mean, if you have to be in a wheelchair, you have to be in a wheelchair, but thankfully you found a way to not have to be in a wheelchair, because obviously it's better to have you here than to not have you here, even if that meant to be in a wheelchair your whole life. But I think that being able to walk gives you a lot of freedom, and it allows you to do things. It allows you to also play with Peyton, your son who's 4 years old, and your daughter who will grow up. You'll be able to do things with them that you couldn't do without legs.
Exactly, and I realize I'm a realist. I understand that the wheelchair is part of my life, but it's just not something that I have to rely on all the time, and I hate having to rely on things or stuff that's outside of my control. I like to be in control, and being able to wear my legs and walk around, mentally is just amazing for my mental state. That's like the biggest piece of the healing factor there is that being able to wear prosthetic legs and walk around makes me feel the most normal that I can feel, with these injuries.
You played lacrosse at Army. You went on to become Special Forces, and you've overcome all of this. You gotta look back at some point and say, wow, I'm really proud of what I've accomplished.
Yeah, I am. I think that I was thinking about this the other day, that I feel like my accomplishments help define me, and my failures help show me my limits, my left and right limits.
Did Gina ever say to you, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this procedure, or maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe accept your fate, or was she always like, you can do this?
No, Gina, when it came to the procedure, I just remember Gina saying, I gotta be serious, like, I better be serious and treat it, like, seriously, and stay on top of the lengthening, because I had to lengthen my bone, the broken bone, with a machine, a radio transmitter 4 times a day, and I had to do it at a certain time and be careful. And if anything, Gina just stayed on top of me to make sure that I did the procedure, because she wanted me to succeed and get up and walking almost as much as myself.
You're going to compete in the Triumph Games. Can you tell me about the Triumph Games? I'm really excited about this. It's basically a competition that is going to be physical, mental, and then a little bit of fun.
Yep.
Also combining both of those with 12 terrific injured veterans.
Yeah, so the Triumph Games, which your viewers can go online and check it out, it's triumphgames2015.com, I believe is the website, or a variation of.
I think it's 2015triumphgames.com.
There you go.
Both might work.
Yeah.
Definitely 2015.
If you Google either one of those, I'm sure it'll pop up.
Absolutely.
So the producers at NBC decided that, along with some other kind of bigwigs, I know the CEO of Johnson & Johnson played part 2. He's a former Army Ranger and veteran. They got tired of seeing veterans portrayed in the media as everyone has PTSD, everyone is on, this narcotic pain pill popping, just messed up. Excuse my French, but everybody's fucked up if you're a veteran. If you're injured, you're stuck in a wheelchair and you're not living your life.
Sure.
And they realize that there's veterans out there that are winning gold medals in the Paralympics. There are veterans out there that are dominating whatever sport it is, that are still dominating whatever field they're now in. So what they did was through an application process, they found 12 para-athletes that were all veterans, and injured guys and girls, and wanted to demonstrate to the country that these are the 1% that went off to war to fight for our freedom. And even though that they're injured, they're still dominating life. And 2 of the guys I know through sled hockey, Rico Roman and Jen Lee, both those guys won gold medals in Sochi. And there's just other athletes and contestants that are doing the Triumph Games with me that are amazing people. That are terrific people.
They are. Yeah. They are. And I met some of your teammates in hockey last night. I got to get on the ice with you. We have some footage of that will be in the piece, but we'll also show you guys next week. We wanted to show you today, but unfortunately technology failed. We'll go into the hockey thing for a second. It was great to meet those guys. They're all amazing athletes.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I don't know. I was saying to the coach, Josh is his name?
Yeah.
That I'd like to believe that if something happened to my legs, I would still want to play hockey. I'd want to get in a sled. And he said, some guys do and some guys don't. Some guys don't want to be reminded of what they're missing.
Yeah.
And just walking into that rink, I haven't been in a rink since since I took on Brienne, and before that I haven't been on a rink in 2 years since Jack was born. That smell, immediately the smell of the rink, it never changes.
It's funny that you say that, because hockey is the one thing that I've found that is the same with legs and without, and with sled hockey, and that's why it is so important to me in the whole rehab and healing process, but also for fun, because it's the same thing. It's the smell, it's the ice, it's the rink, it's 5-on-5. It's the same speed. It's the same game. It's just the same.
You're really good.
Thank you.
You're to the point where I thought I had to keep it low.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it would be fair.
Yeah.
And Josh told me, no, these guys can shoot high. You gotta shoot high. And I went, oh, okay. And it was interesting because you gave me. You teased me with places to shoot the puck and then robbed me.
Yeah. Well, let's be careful with my game plan and not reveal too much.
I'm not revealing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That you gave me opportunities to place the puck places.
Yeah.
And then you took those places away very quickly.
Yeah. I've always had good hand-eye coordination, and I don't know if you remember when we were little, but goalie was actually the first position that I played in hockey when I was a mite. And I really enjoyed it, and obviously, growing up playing hockey, you're growing so much that every year you gotta get a new pair of skates or new equipment, and goalie equipment's so expensive that my parents just finally said, you're not playing goalie anymore, which was fine, and I played right wing for the rest of my time as a Great Neck Bruin. But being able to play goalie now is just, it's nice, because it's something that I always enjoyed, and it's just being able to get back on the ice and compete again.
It is. It's definitely amazing, and it's hockey. It's in you. I think once you start playing hockey, it's in you. You never can let go.
Yeah.
And it's great that you can get on the ice and play. I love that. I loved seeing you play last night. I had a huge smile on my face, and then being able to play with you a little was a lot of fun. Getting on the ice for the first time with you.
Yeah.
In year. It's been 20 years.
It's been 20 some odd years since you and I have stepped on the ice together.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I was just blown away. Gina said she loves that you play hockey. I thought that was cool.
Gina, actually, it's funny, being married to me, obviously, I was playing hockey even before I left for this trip to Afghanistan that I got injured on a club team. And I got Gina really into hockey, and since marrying me and dating me, she's actually really into hockey now and has become a big Chicago Blackhawks fan also. And she can actually watch a hockey game.
You were always a Blackhawks fan, weren't you?
Yeah.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, so I rooted for the Islanders also, just because my dad used to
I gotta leave now.
I enjoyed the 1940 chants, why they lasted.
Oh man!
I did root.
Greg, are you hearing this?
I did root for the Vancouver Canucks in the Stanley Cup. What was that, 94 that you guys won the
94 Cup? Stanley Cup,
yeah.
Which was also the same year that you shared your first kiss with Gina.
Yes, that was. Was it July 17th, July 19th?
July 17th, yep. 1994. And the reason I know that is there's a 30 for 30 on that.
Yeah.
It was the night OJ went on the chase.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of other different sports things that happened that night too.
But you were busy laying one on Gina.
Yeah, I was macking it to Gina at the movie theater.
At the movie theater in Great Neck.
Yes.
And then you guys went your own separate way because not necessarily right after that night, but you went to Virginia to boarding school for a while.
Yeah, so I went to a boarding school down in Virginia. And around that same time, my parents got divorced, and my mom's side of the family is from North Carolina, so she moved back to North Carolina. My dad is from New York. He moved into the city, and then I never really went back to Long Island. I didn't have a reason to. And then Gina and I reconnected in 2006, right before I left for Iraq. So there was a good 15 years almost of us not talking.
There's something so sweet about this story, though. It really is. You reconnect.
Yeah, I'd like to sell the rights to Hollywood.
I think you should. It's a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
But I think that the real part is your perseverance, your determination. That's Gina's big thing. Is that you are the most determined and strongest person she knows.
I'm honored that she thinks that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm telling you, this is no joke. I don't know anybody braver, more courageous, or seriously more determined. I look at you. You're an inspiration to me. Okay?
Thank you.
And I sit there and I go, man, if this guy can do this, anybody can do anything.
I mean, thank you for that, and I agree. I think that so much the limitations that we put on ourselves, a lot of that is mental, and a lot of that I learned through a lot of special forces training with the tasks and the physical conditioning that they want you to do. You know, they tell you or you hear about it or you're going through it and you think there's no way I'm going to be able to finish, but you know, you realize that you dig down deep and that you can just accomplish.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. You just have to dig down deep. I mean, I know that we've got a lot of terrifics. They're amazing, and a lot of them, we're all human, right? We all go through things and stuff, and a lot of them go through ups and downs, and sometimes they lose confidence, or some of them, or they think that they can't do it, or they get down. And I think that you show that you just got to say, okay, I can have these feelings. These feelings can be fleeting, and I got to dig down deep and make stuff happen. Your code here for your Wi-Fi, the last 3 digits of the password are GSF. I asked you what that was. You said Gary Sinise Foundation. He is the actor who played Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump.
Correct. Also a bilateral above the knee amputee. The character,
yeah. Yes. So I was wondering if I asked you what the significance was, because I was wondering if that was a cruel joke you were playing on yourself. I didn't understand it.
No. So the Gary Sinise Foundation helped us with handle the money and arrange for our home getting built. So the majority of the money for our house, which is handicap accessible with an elevator and very open, they handle so that way I don't get taxed on it. They also help arrange when it comes like to the project manager. We worked with the builder here locally. Gina and I helped kind of design most of it with the builder. But the Sinise Foundation, a lot of other guys are very hands-on. It just so happened that Gina and I are more hands-on with our own project, and the Sinise Foundation was okay and took kind of a secondary role. But they build homes for the most severely injured veterans, and they do a great job.
Is that because of his role in Forrest Gump? Did he meet a lot of...
So interesting enough, the disabled, I forget the acronym, I think it's DAV, the Disabled American Veterans, I think it stands for. They asked for Gary to speak at their dinner one year after he played Lieutenant Dan, and that really resonated with him. And shortly after that, he got involved with another organization to help build a home for the first quadruple amputee to survive combat, a kid named Brendan Morocco, who actually is the first veteran to receive a hand transplant. So he lost all limbs. He helped raise money and build a house up in Staten Island for Brendan, and then that kind of launched Gary's calling with helping the most seriously injured. And Gary actually was able to come here and check out the house. And Gina and I told Gary, like, look, we don't want a huge, groundbreaking ceremony, and we just want to keep it low key. And to be honest, Gary, like, we just want to invite you to dinner because that's how we are as people. We're very low key, but we're very thankful that you did this for us. So we were able to have Gary come here, and he was able to check out the house, which he was glad to see because this is kind of the fruits of his labor.
Sure.
After New York CSI finished on the air, which Gary was, the main character, and I think he turned down a bunch of roles until he had a certain amount of guys that he wanted to take care of, and he was going on tour with his band, the Lieutenant Dan Band, and raising money for these guys, and just wanted to help take care of the vets. And he's very, very patriotic.
Well, that's phenomenal. I love what he's doing, and I think it's great. So I wanted you to tell that story, and that's I don't talk about it with you before we go on.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about it. The Gary Sinise Foundation, people have to check it out. They should donate to it. And I'm glad that they were able to help you and really support, and that's phenomenal. You've met a lot of cool and amazing people and gotten some interesting experiences because of this. But really, I think what's the best part is you've been able to inspire so many.
Yeah, I think so too. Obviously it's a curse and a blessing. Like, this is a huge curse, and I would give everything that good has happened to me from the point of me getting injured. I'd give it back for me to have my legs again in a second.
Yeah.
But I also realized.
Do you think about that a lot?
Not really. I mean, to be honest, I don't like dwell on it. Like, I think about it or I remember it.
Is there a point when you were telling me yesterday, when you put your hockey bag in the car, you're up on the I don't know, you're in the trunk basically, and you're pulling your hockey bag up, and it's huge because it's got the sled in it, and you said you want to see a feet of upper body strength. You got to see this.
Yeah,
when you're doing that and you're frustrated, I mean, if I get frustrated with something, I want to throw something and go, F this. Is that when you go, oh my God, like if I just had my legs?
Not really. I mean, to be honest, if I say F this, it's with a smile on my face and just, oh well. Yeah. But I never...
It's such a great outlet.
I've never had a moment where I like break down and start crying because I can't like walk downstairs, and instead I gotta like shuffle on my butt down the stairs because I don't know. I just want to get down the stairs. Like, I want to go live my life. I don't want to sit here and dwell. There's things I want to do. There's things I want to accomplish. There's people I want to meet. There's things to get done.
Gina said one of the things that's nice is you guys get to create memories now and spend a lot more time as a family. You were working a lot more. You were away a lot more.
All the time.
Yeah.
Being in special operations and special forces specifically, when you're home, you're not really home because you're out training all the time, and then you're deployed the rest of the time. So you're hardly ever home.
I want people to understand you're the best of the best of the best of the best. You are the best this country has to offer, period, to send into battle.
I mean, I believe that. In the most humble manner, I believe that, yeah.
It's the truth. And you were a captain, which means you're leading other men into battle.
Yes.
They're under your watch, so to speak, your supervision.
Yeah. I was a Special Forces team leader, so I was in charge of a 12-man Special Forces team.
That's amazing.
I enjoyed it.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, it was. But I enjoyed every day of it. Obviously up to one day that kind of sucked, but every other day, I really enjoyed being a team leader and being on a team. And if it was up to me, I would have spent the rest of my life working as a Special Forces team leader. But unfortunately, the way that the timeline works for officers, you only have a certain amount of lifespan on a team. But I enjoyed it. It was a great opportunity, and just really enjoyed it.
You have done some amazing things before and now after, but you have a daughter now, and I think that's the thing you are most proud of is not only Peyton but also your daughter.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were able to have a daughter after the fact.
Yeah. Someone asked me recently at an event I was speaking at. It was the Under Armour North-South game for lacrosse, and spoke to a crowd of maybe 500-600 people. And one of the parents came up to me afterwards and asked me, he's like, Captain Harrow, thank you for speaking. You're an amazing individual. But I gotta say, it seems like you've done all this great, amazing stuff. Like, what's the most amazing thing that you've done, or the most amazing person that you met? And I told him right away. I said, the birth of my daughter. That's been like the most amazing thing since me getting injured. And having kids, it's very cliche, but it totally changes your outlook on life, and it's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt. I think that you have come a long way from when you first got injured, obviously, but it really is a very short amount of time. You're going to compete in the Triumph Games. You're talking 3 years later, 2012. This is 2015. You were injured in 2012. I don't think you ever thought, I'll be competing in some kind of games or some kind of competition when you were laying there, but you knew pretty early on you were going to walk and kind of reclaim your life, did you not? Even when they told you you're not?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I would be living my life again. I just knew that Even though laying in my hospital bed and coming to terms of looking down and not having my legs, I knew that it was just going to be, like Gina said, another flavor of normal. And, honestly, I just wanted to get in the gym and start working out again and hurry up and get out of the hospital room and start living again. Obviously, before, it's funny that you said about trying to compete. I actually was trying to compete with the Italian national sled hockey team in the World Championships this past April. So it's even before the Triumph Games, I've been trying to compete, at a high level.
Are you, like, I'm angry with that area of the world, with that. I think that a lot of people are. I'm like fed up with it. I have been for years. When I was doing radio back in 1999, 2000, I was screaming that, we should just do something drastic and show them that they can't mess with us. Are you angry with that part of the world?
I'm not angry with that part of the world. I think the best way to put it is it's disappointing to see our leaders out of touch with that part of the world. Because I think a lot of people try to bring our values to people that just don't want it. I was a guy on the ground as an infantry platoon leader in Iraq and a guy on the ground as a special forces team leader in Afghanistan. So I had just 24/7, 365 ground truth, and I knew what was going on and what people wanted. Like I tell people, Iraq was like the American Wild West in the 1840s, where there's some development. You had electricity in Iraq, you had paved roads, but it was still the way of the gun. Afghanistan is like the Bible, where there's hardly any electricity, there's still camel trains and nomads, and people have 12 to 15 children because they know only 7 of them are going to die before the age of 5. And that's just the way they live life, and that's their mentality, and that's it for them. And to try and go in there and speed them up 250 years worth of development and tell them, like, here's your elected official, you're a country, when all they want to do is be a village, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, and I think that the way I would liken it is you made a good point. You can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do. Maybe this is a bad analogy. I think it's you can't force a drug addict into rehab.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to get better, and it's the same kind of thing almost.
One of my greatest lessons I learned was actually from my interpreter, who was an Iraq. Well, he was Sudanese, but got stuck in Iraq during the 80s when Saddam was in power. He moved there to be an engineer, and the Iraqis took his passport. And he told me in the beginning of my trip to Iraq and working with us, he said, Lieutenant Harrow, he's like, you guys are too nice to these people. All they respect and understand is violence. He's like, that's it. He's like, I know. He's like, look, I know that sounds horrible to you, but that's all they respect, and that's all they know, and that's why Saddam would walk around with a pistol in these towns, because they would be scared that he would just shoot people, but they never acted up. And not to get too political about what happened with the fall of Saddam, but he kept them under wraps with violence, because that part of the world, that's really all they respect.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is sad. Let's get into some happier things.
Sure.
What do you do to relax and have fun? And I don't mean exercise and play hockey. You exercise like a beast, by the way.
Thanks.
You make me want to go and hit the gym. And that's very hard because I don't want to hit the gym. Like, I've never been a workout. I like playing sports.
Yeah.
I'll toss a football with you. I'll get on the ice with you.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in the gym.
Yeah.
But you make me want to get in the gym.
I love being in the gym just because I realized how much that helps with either on the field with lacrosse or on the ice with hockey. And I beat that into myself at a young age in high school of working hard during the summer, because I saw the results come the fall, and the same thing in college, and it just has always stuck with me. What I do for fun, if I have a moment, because I'm so busy with everything else, I love to wrestle around with Peyton. He just loves to wrestle with me.
I saw a little bit of that yesterday.
Yeah, cool. So I had to create a self-defense system to defeat any 4-year-old from the ground. Just making Marchesa laugh. Just simple stuff. Being able to hang out with my family. Like, even if it's myself and Gina and Peyton and Marchesa, in the living room just for 5 minutes, like all hanging out, I enjoy that because I haven't been able to experience that up until now, and that's something so normal to, your everyday modern American family,
Sure.
I feel like. But that's something that we haven't been able to experience for so long.
Yeah.
So that's something that I really enjoy, and, it's one of those things where if you have something taken away, that's when you realize how much you enjoyed it. And I almost had everything taken away. So it's these little things that I really come to enjoy.
I said this to Gina, and I don't, maybe I said it to you too, but I really said this to Gina. I said, realistically, you shouldn't be here. Like, you, probably 9 out of 10 people who were in that situation wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, I lost a significant amount of blood.
Yeah.
They had to put 75 units of blood back into me when I got to the trauma center at Kandahar. The human body only holds 9 to 11 units of blood. It was just stepping on a bomb.
Yeah. But you fought.
Yeah.
You fought to be here for your family.
Yeah, laying there on the desert floor bleeding out, I only had one thought in my head. Well, I had many thoughts in my head, but I focused on one that helped me get through kind of the utter chaos of laying there and feeling like I'm dying, and that was a picture that I had of Gina and Peyton. And I just focused on that picture, and I knew that if I could stay conscious long enough for my medic, my teammate, to get to me, everything would be all right. And there came a point where it felt like, if you're trying to hold your breath underwater, there's that point where you're like, all right, I gotta come up and breathe. And for me, there just came that point where I was like, I can't keep my eyes open anymore, and I just gotta let go of the wall. And around the same time, luckily, I felt someone next to me. I knew that my teammate had gotten to me, and I said out loud, "Sorry, Gina," and then I woke up in Germany 3 days later.
It's an amazing story, but you're here. I'm so happy you're here. What about the name Peyton? Where does that come from? Is that Peyton Manning?
No. It's funny that you say that. When I tell people ask, what's your son's name, and I have to say Peyton, and not a lot of people, I guess, have heard the name, so I always have to use Peyton Manning as a reference. So it's Peyton, like Peyton Manning, not because of Peyton Manning. But
I would think at this point everybody's heard the name.
It's, I don't know, maybe it's my quasi New York accent that does people in, but Peyton is actually like ancient Gaelic or it's an older word for patriarch.
Okay. And
since Peyton is their firstborn, and plus one of the family traits that Gina and I share is a little bit of Irish in both of our sides of the family, so we figured it was fitting.
And what about Marchesa?
Marchesa is actually an Italian name, which I think stands for marquis.
Okay.
But the female version of a marquis. We liked it because it was Italian, and it was pretty. But more importantly, her middle name Rose is twofold for my grandmother that passed away. My grandma's mother. Her name was Rose, my great-grandmother Rose, so in honor of my grandma and her family, we named her Rose. And then also the medic that saved my life and my team, his name was Roland. So we figured, I explained to Roland, I'm not going to name my daughter Rolanda. So, yeah.
Do you stay in touch?
Yeah, we talk all the time, via text or phone call. He's actually headed up here. He'll actually be Marchesa's godfather when we do the baptism in November.
Wow.
I told him to be ready though because the Pope's coming to DC in September, and I try and do stuff at 110%. So I sent out my feelers. I'm trying to see if the Pope will baptize Marchesa at the service he's doing at Catholic University in September.
Wow.
Yeah, which would be amazing. I don't know if that really happened, but it would be great if the Holy Father would bless her child.
That would be unbelievable.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a good story for Marchesa to tell her kids later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roland's, obviously he's coming here for Thanksgiving, and we're going to do the baptism for Marchesa then if the Pope falls through.
It must be nice for him to be able to see that, to stay in touch with you. And
I saw my teammates came up. I got injured in May. My teammates came up here in October when they got back from Afghanistan, and my teammates that saw me all blown up, they said it's amazing to see me, now and alive, because a lot of them thought I was done, you know, from the amount I was bleeding and what was left of me.
I was going to say, did they think that you were going to make it?
Roland told me he really didn't know. Because my second in command, my warrant officer, Jason Ford, he was out there with me, and I think Jason asked Roland, like, you know, what's his chances? And Roland was like, it's really up to Ben now, because I don't know, you know, they did everything that they could, you know, by the book, textbook. They threw, you know, tourniquets all over what was left of me. They said I don't remember any of it, but they said I was screaming and yelling and fighting them. What was left of my right leg looked like a bloody stump from kind of what an exploding cigar looks like in a cartoon, except there was kind of just blood and bone, and then everything else was just mashed up and broken from the blast.
Wow.
Roland said he couldn't even give me any, you know, narcotics to kill the pain, just because he couldn't give me any morphine on the spot, just because my breathing was so weak and shallow, and my pulse was so weak and shallow. He didn't want me to kind of sleep into a coma and never wake up.
Wow. Well, it seems like he did all the right things.
Yeah, for sure.
And that helps. I mean, it's a team effort, right? I mean,
no, definitely. You know, and as something I talk about when I talk to sports teams, that our preparation as a special forces team, and you know, kudos to myself as well, is making sure that stuff got done during, you know, our training leading up to deployment, was the medical portion and the medical training, because that in turn helped save my life. The fact that, you know, under fire, under extreme chaos, under the trauma of seeing your leader and your teammate and your brother blown in two laying in front of you, being able to treat that then and there and getting the medevac on the spot.
And not getting emotional.
Yeah, exactly.
And I imagine that you probably helped a lot of people in your situation, a lot of your teammates, or not a lot. One would be a lot. I mean, one's too many. Through your career, you probably had to do something like this for somebody else.
Yeah. On my first trip to Afghanistan, one of my teammates stepped on an IED during a clearing operation, and that was a whole other ordeal also, and making sure that he got out safe.
And he's alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, he's doing well. He's still, I'm not going to mention him by name because he's still an SF guy and operating somewhere in the globe.
Wow.
So he's still doing well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I mean, all you guys, all I can say is thank you so much. I mean, you defend our freedom. I sent you, after we first reconnected, I sent you a picture of my son to say this is what you're fighting for. Not that you're not fighting for, your son Peyton, but you're fighting for people, my son Jack, and people you don't even know, for their kids and for them. And I don't think we recognize our troops enough. A lot of people get caught up in, I don't think we should be at war. I don't think we should be in Iraq. I don't think we should be in Afghanistan. That's fine. If you feel that way, you can go talk to your politicians and say, look, we shouldn't be there. This is America. You're entitled to whatever you believe.
Yeah.
But the one thing that everybody needs to do is support our troops, because you go over there. You don't ask any questions. You defend our freedom blindly. And you don't get to say, well, I don't think this is a good idea, or I don't think that's a good idea. You're just going and defending our freedom and protecting our lives. And the reason we get to drive down the road in a Honda or a Ford or a Porsche is because there's somebody out there when the sun goes down defending our freedom, and when the sun goes up, they're still there defending our freedom. And they're potentially making the ultimate sacrifice. And so is their family. Your family is sacrificing big time now, but they were also sacrificing when you were working all the time and traveling. And I think, I talked to Gina about this a little. I personally don't think that Army wives and Army families, any sector of the military, are respected enough or praised enough or thanked enough too.
No, I agree 100%, and that's something that I'm doing now, working with an organization called the Boots Campaign, which is all about just letting the American public know about, being a patriot and recognizing our troops, and that even though you're done fighting, there's still a battle to be fought at home. And they do a great job of that too. Not to start talking about other organizations and foundations and playing the commercial game. But I'm saying that there's groups out there that feel that way too. The Gary Sinise Foundation, and there's obviously the Wounded Warrior Project, and I think that's a big part of it. Obviously, just not helping out wounded soldiers, but recognizing and Americans should be recognizing the fact that, and they don't realize that. I think, most of the time that I don't think people realize what people like myself go through, what my family goes through. And not that we're looking to be recognized, but it's just something that people should understand.
I agree 100%. You know what's nice? I think what's nice is I left here last night, or left playing hockey, and I could imagine you getting old and being 70, 80 years old and still going after life.
Yeah.
And
but hopefully by then they figure out how to regrow legs.
Well,
yeah.
yes, but let's say worst case scenario they don't. I still see this great future for you, where like 30 years ago, this wouldn't have been as great a future, and it will only get better. But you'll have grandkids and all this stuff, hopefully. And I just see this like I see you still hitting the gym like 30, 40 years from now, which I think is like.
I share that same vision, Mike.
But that's nice. As somebody who grew up with you, who when I got the news, my heart sank, and I didn't know what was going to be for your life. And I thought, well, I hope that he'll do the best he can and whatever. And all I want to do is come cheer you up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I never made that happen.
Well, you're here now.
But I'm here now. No. But I mean, like. I just wanted to come visit you in the hospital and cheer you up, or as you were going through rehab. Whenever you were ready for visitors, I wanted to cheer you up.
Yeah.
Because of two reasons. One, you're a former teammate of mine, which means we're always teammates, the way I look at it. Number two, I know you. And number three, I mean, you were doing this protecting our freedom, so I wanted to thank you and, put a smile on your face. I think it goes back to, for me, a little bit to our hockey coach growing up, Fred Artsis. Who had a weird way of doing things, but everything was a joke, and yes, he drove us hard. I mean, you talked about in the interview a little bit about Fred and how you just wanted to please him, and get a pat on the back from him, and it's so weird. I think I wanted the same thing, and it drove me crazy that I would score 2 or 3 goals and have 2 assists, and I'd get off the ice and be all happy, and he'd go, "You're lazy."
Yeah. Now that you say that, I remember Fred was a hard coach to get a compliment from.
Yeah.
Where, I finished playing right wing, but I played defense for a while, and Freddie was a defense coach, and I just remember he was a hard guy to get a attaboy from. Yeah. Most of the time it was sharp criticism.
Right, but followed by jokes, which kind of made it tolerable.
Yeah.
And I think that's like all I wanted to do was come in and make you smile because of that, or I think that's instilled in me. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I mean, I'm just so proud of you. I can't even tell you how proud I am.
Well, thank you.
You've done such a tremendous job, taking your life back, and now you're inspiring so many people. And you're going to speak to
So I do.
Sorry.
That's right. I'll finish your speaking. I do speak engagements.
Because I just realized I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about one of the teams you're going to talk to in September.
I mean, I don't think it's that much of a secret, but it's just something that's coming up.
Okay.
So right now, I speak to the Johns Hopkins lacrosse team.
That's the one I couldn't remember,
yeah.
And the other one is in September.
Yeah. It's an NFL team I'm speaking to in September. That the head coach is friends with the Johns Hopkins lacrosse coach. Besides those 2 teams, I speak to other lacrosse teams that kind of get pop up or offer to me, in speaking to whether that's business organizations or for conferences around here where people know me. That's something that I'm kind of doing on the side, and I don't know. It goes. I always enjoyed coaching and being able to, instruct or give back, and I feel like being able to speak and tell my story is very similar to that, where it's teaching leadership, it's teaching perseverance, it's teaching people, that have bad days, how to overcome that, and also teaching certain leadership principles that I learned, whether at West Point or as an infantry officer, as a special forces officer, or even on the athletic field. So I enjoy it.
Well, it's pretty cool. I love that you're inspiring people. You certainly inspire me. I know that you're inspiring the Terrifics. I mean, they have to be inspired by this. I don't have the Slack chat in front of me, we're doing this off my iPhone, and
which is very inspiring, also.
Well, you know what's funny is you kind of rattled me a little because we had some technical difficulties, and you said you need a contingency plan, and I thought, well, I always have a contingency plan, and because we have every camera was connected a different way, so we could always go off a single camera.
Yeah.
And then I realized that this is the last contingency plan. As all the technology failed us, of course the iPhone doesn't. But the thing with it that bothered me was because I feel like I failed in front of you, and by the way, like I failed in front of a West Point guy, who no joke, I should have 5 ways out, and a real contingency plan, not like, oh, I get my iPhone out.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like, wow, that's kind of
Well, consider this a lesson learned.
Yeah, I will.
So I'll teach you something that we do in planning in Special Forces, and it's with everything.
See, I always think I'm good at logistics. You've just schooled me that I'm not.
This is for you and your audience.
Yeah.
What we do when it comes to everything with what we do, whether that's communications, whether that's weapon systems, whatever we do, you always have a PACE plan, PACE, and that's your primary, your alternate, your contingency, and your emergency. And so, for example, here, your primary where your big camera is, your alternate was going from like one camera to another camera, your contingency was maybe the GoPro where the batteries were dead, and here we're talking through your iPhone 6, which is your emergency.
Yeah.
And I guess like we could have gone, the extra E and pulled up my Skype chat on
there you go. We could have.
Yeah.
I like that. We have to have 4 contingency plans.
Yeah. And we did the same thing, obviously, for example, communications, you'd have your SATCOM, like your SAT radio, then you would have your FM, and then you would have your SAT phone, or then maybe you would have a cell phone, or time. Like there's so many different things that you can do, and your weapon, you would have your rifle, then you would have your pistol to go to, and then you would probably carry a pocket knife, and then your emergency would be, you got to use your hands to put somebody down.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just something, that same type of thinking is I carry on with me, to this day.
Seems like you read a lot. Do you read a lot?
I do. I enjoy reading. Lately I've been doing a lot of, not just lately, but I've been doing a lot of physicist type reading with Neil deGrasse Tyson and Brian Greene. Watching a lot of science BBC documentaries, nerding out.
I like nerding out.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I enjoy it just because it's something different. I'm so busy with everything else during the day. It's a different flavor of stuff. I've probably read every military history book out there before. I love the Ken Burns Civil War specials. But lately I've been doing a lot of that reading with the science stuff.
It seems like you read a lot. You're very sharp. You're very knowledgeable. It's impressive.
I like to consider myself more of a Renaissance man, where I'm master of nothing, jack of all trades.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none. What do you I have a question that I've been dying to ask, because I know that the Terrifics, when I told them I was coming, have already bombarded me with this, and they ask this a lot. What was I like in middle school and high school?
You know what?
And you can be completely honest.
If
you think I was a jerk, you can say that.
No, I don't think that you're a jerk. I always liked you.
I liked you too.
Thank you. You were a leader. I remember when I played, you were in 8th grade, I was in 7th grade, we played football together. You were the quarterback of the team. You were always sort of the leader. You and that kid, I want to say it was Scott Perlman, were the captains of the football team.
Yes, Scott Perlman.
And Zach Sturtz, I think was his name.
Zach Sturtz, yeah.
Wow,
you got a good memory.
And then, in hockey, I don't remember if you were the captain of the team, but you and Hallie Reckler were always were leaders on the team, and you were just, I don't know, you were always in like a sort of a leadership role, and if we needed a goal or something, I'd be praying that you got the puck and took a slap shot, like you were that guy.
How was my slap shot last night? It was a little weak.
It wasn't that bad. You put one over my blocker side, which is my weak side, just because it's so hard for me to reach up and be quick on that side. But I'm surprised you're not playing in some sort of men's beer league. I
was, and then Jack was born, and then I'm just taking a little bit of time off, and only because I'm building BeTerrific, and I don't have time. But I do want to play, and I took on Brienne McLaughlin. Team USA silver medal winning, 2-time silver medal winning goalie. And
I can't wait to get on the ice with her. We need to make that happen.
We're going to make that happen.
Okay.
There's no doubt, no question about it. I'm actually, when we finish, I'm going to try and call her so we can get her on the phone. But we'll definitely get that.
You need to send her some of my highlight reel from last night.
Dude, you sprawl. Okay, let me just tell everybody. The footage you're going to see, this guy, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to be honest. I'm naive. I'm as ignorant as they could come when it comes to this. I'm like, I've always liked sled hockey. I told you this when we talked on the phone. When Tina Katz, you guys know the story well. Peter's sister was hit by a subway, lost her legs. I told her about sled hockey and told her I want to see you on the ice. I was trying to motivate her. She never played hockey in her life. I was so excited when you told me you play sled hockey. And when I expected you're like, I play goalie, you to like sit in literally one spot and just, basically back on the goal line and just try and save what you could. And I saw like a shot of you in a video, and you basically in that video did what I described. It was like a 2-second clip, so it wasn't like maybe that's not what you did, but that's what I saw that you did. And so when I got out there last night, not only can you move around like any normal goalie from side to side and around the crease, but then you sprawl out like a regular goalie. And that blew my mind. And it gets very physical, especially because of the sleds.
Yeah, it does.
And
there's some
all
collisions.
These guys are unbelievable, though.
Yeah. Oh, there's 2 or 3 guys on my club team here that play for the USA national team. One of them just won a gold medal at the World Championship up in Buffalo this past April. Wow. So we're very competitive here. And then myself, I'm a competitive person, so... the funny story is that I was watching the Sochi Olympics in 2014, and I love hockey. I want to play at the highest level. I didn't make the USA team, and the USA team, their goalie, Steve Cash, amazing goalie, but he's won 2 gold medals now, a couple world championships, not retiring anytime soon, and I just want to play. And so I reached out to the Italian national team because I knew I qualified for Italian citizenship.
So you're going to have dual citizenship. You're not giving up U.S. citizenship?
No.
Never?
No.
And then you're just going to go play for the Italian team. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
And look, I would love to play for the USA team, but at the same time, I just want to play in the Olympics. So,
why is this guy better than you?
I mean, he's really good. I look, me personally, I think I could hang with him.
Yeah. Brianne's going to teach you some things.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
She's unbelievable, too.
Yeah.
I did score on her 3 times.
You told me many times.
Yeah.
That was
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Well, I told you last night that realistically, if I could do one thing in life, it would be to have one shift at Madison Square Garden as a New York Ranger.
Yeah.
It's never happening, though.
That's like that guy from Field of Dreams, the doctor that just wants to get one at bat.
Yeah, one at bat.
Yeah.
What was his name? Doc something?
I don't remember what his name was, but he just wants to have one at bat and be able to wink down at the pitcher.
Moonlight Graham.
There you go, Moonlight Graham.
Wow.
Yeah.
Moonlight Graham.
Yeah.
Are you a Back to the Future guy?
I enjoy the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you saw the DeLoreans, because next week we're going to visit the guys who own 3 of the movie DeLoreans.
Yeah, I would definitely
Would that be cool?
Take a picture with them and stuff, and I think it's super cool.
I'm excited about it. You think I should? What should I ask them?
I don't know. I mean, I asked about the flex capacitor.
Does it really work?
Yeah.
Can we get it to work?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I don't know.
I use that usually when people are messing around with the computer and they can't get it to work. I'd be like, have you checked the flex capacitor?
I love it. That's awesome. That's pretty good. Yeah, we had a lot of fun playing football and hockey together.
Yeah.
And just fun in general. And I just remember you always, and Gina brought this up, you always have that smile on your face, and it hasn't changed forever. And Peyton looks exactly like you.
Oh, thank you. Cool. Yeah, Peyton is a little mini me, and then Marquesa has turned out to be a little mini Gina.
Yes.
So it works out.
It's, you guys, I said this to Gina, I've met a lot of people in my life, and a lot of couples, and I've interviewed a lot of people. I have never walked into a place and said, wow, these two are such a perfect fit for each other as you guys. You are literally like you were made for each other.
I mean, I tell Gina that all the time. Yeah. So Gina and I, we complement each other so well. Yeah. Obviously there's opposites, and I think opposites attract in a way, but what I'm weak at, she's strong at, and we make a great team. And I think that's something that we're really big on, is not just we're a married couple, but we're a team in this. And that's kind of been our go-to motto is Team Harrow, whether that's somebody wants to know if we have a logo, or somebody wants to put together a T-shirt for a fundraiser, it's always been Team Harrow. And actually, throughout the Triumph games, I put Team Harrow as like the hashtag. Just
I love it.
Keep
well,
that going.
we're going to support you. I mean, we're going to be there.
No, definitely.
And we're going to follow your progress. We'll
see
keep
you
our win. Yeah, we're going to see you win. Out of respect to NBC and the games, we're going to come shoot this, and as we edit your story, we're probably going to have to hold the story till October. And unfortunately for you guys, we're not going to tell you who won, but we're going to go support him, and you guys should be supporting him. And if people out there want you to come speak to inspire their company or whatever, how do they get in touch with you?
Honestly, either through you, or I can give them my email address. I don't know which one.
I mean, either one works. Everybody knows my email address or BeTerrific's. I'll give you mine if you don't already have it. It's artsis@BeTerrific.com. Of course, you can reach us at connect@BeTerrific.com. And for you...
Yeah, probably the easiest way to reach me would be my speaking email, which is actually ben@invigiloadvisor.com, but I would have to spell it out for you.
Yeah, you do, because I can't spell.
So Invigilo is INVIGILO, and it's Latin for always watching and always vigilant, and then advisor.com. And I chose that just because I felt like it fit. I wanted something kind of Latin that meant something, and I've always been, I felt like trying to advise, or always, like I was saying, I enjoy teaching and being able to spread the message.
Cool. That's pretty cool. I got another first for you. You're the first person in my entire career covering September 11th, 10 years later, September 11th, covering all sorts of stuff. You're really the first person, you and Gina both, to really make me emotional. I'm usually able to disconnect and just do my job, and you both took me to that place. So
I know September 11th, being from New York, it means a lot to me. And last year I spoke at an event on September 11th, and talking about it, I guess, does choke me up a little bit, just because you and I both lost two friends, John Ielby and Andrew Sturgeonopoulos. But that event, that day, set so much in motion for me, specifically, thinking about it. Obviously lost two friends, but if that never happened, I would probably still have my legs. I never would have stuck on a bomb in Afghanistan.
You didn't join because of that. You were.
I was already in. I was a freshman at West Point. Actually, my class at West Point was the last class to go to West Point pre-war.
Wow.
And actually, strangely enough, we graduated 911 cadets at graduation.
Wow.
So we were the class of 9/11.
Wow. But it only made your desire to be out there greater, I'm sure, and also, it sent you to war, because we were in war.
Yeah, that's the job.
Yeah.
So,
we did lose some friends, and it was a hard. Obviously it's a hard day.
I remember that Tuesday. I was going to my second period class when the first plane hit the towers. It was on the news, and every classroom at West Point has a TV, and usually teachers put on the news in between classes. And another lacrosse player of mine, we were going to the same class, and he was from Long Island also, and we were like, man, we, being from Long Island, we understood that, how important the towers are. And then I also realized, my dad worked right around the corner, right by Trinity Church, which is just
that's like right across the street.
Yeah, so my dad actually ended up walking. He was parking his car when the first plane hit, I believe, or the second one, and he was there, when the first tower accident, the bomb they tried to blow up in the basement.
In 93.
Yeah, exactly. So he was parking his car. He knew something was wrong. He got back in his car and left.
Wow.
And he left his car, started walking up. It must have been like 80 some odd blocks, because he lived up on the Upper East Side at the time on East 76th. So he just left his car and walked north, because he knew something bad was happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Unbelievable. Yeah. I was reporting that day, and I woke up to Howard Stern on the radio.
Yeah.
I used to use him as my alarm clock, and I remember laying in bed listening for a few minutes, and then Howard said, "I've got some terrible news. A plane has crashed into the World Trade Center," and I immediately thought of the plane that hit the Empire State Building in like the 30s.
Yeah.
And thought, oh, okay, an accident. I thought of a small plane.
Yeah.
And I went and turned on the TV, and I called the newsroom. And I was
And I
in
feel like
college.
that's what they reported at the very beginning.
Yeah. And I was in college, and but I was working at this TV station, and I wasn't scheduled to work that day. And I called the station, and I said, "Hey, a plane just hit the World Trade Center," because they had the AP, which was at the time like a ticker, and they didn't have a TV, but they had radio, and I guess it hadn't come on the radio or TV yet. And I'm talking to them, I'm like, I'm going to the city, and they're like, "Well, you're not scheduled to work today." And I'm like, "But I'm going." And they're like, "Well, we'll send another reporter and a crew. Why don't you just come in and see if you can give a hand?" "Well, don't you have college?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to college today." And they were like, "Well, just come in and see if you can give a hand to somebody, because we'll send a crew, and that means if we're sending them into the city for the day, we're losing them for the day." And I was like, no, I'm going. And then I was on the phone with them and watched the second plane crash in, and I felt it was terrorism, and I said that at that point I was like, this is definitely terrorism.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going. And they were like, and I went.
It was interesting, or I thought interesting at the time. My grandmother put it in perspective. I was talking to her about it right after it happened, and she's like, yeah, it's horrible, but people forget. She's like, I lived through Pearl Harbor, and America had the same feeling that we were attacked, and then, give it some time.
10 years later, I did a story on this guy, Matt McDermott. Great guy. He's a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was in the 16th Camera Combat Unit in World War II. And I didn't necessarily respect combat photographers or guys like Matt before that the way I should have. And when I did the story 10 years later with Matt, the New York Post assigned me to do the story, and I thought, oh, this is so self-serving. Let's follow a New York Post photographer through retracing his steps. We talked about it. We wanted to make a really amazing story. And I felt not only did I have to pay respect to and be very careful to guys who we lost, John Ialpi and Sturgiopoulos, but also to all the families and all the people. And I had to do it in a certain way. So I really labored over this story. And what I learned out of it, if it wasn't for guys like Matt running in, while everybody but the first responders are running in, everybody else is running out. If it wasn't for guys like that running in, we wouldn't have the photographs, the despair on people's faces, the close-ups, the real depth of what happened to show future generations like Peyton, like Jack, and then beyond, so that hopefully they don't forget. Now, of course, it will lessen, but hopefully they never ever forget, and that's the key. So
it just reminded me. Did you ever see that documentary about the Spanish woman that said that she was in the tower? I forget what it's called. It's a documentary. Maybe one of your fans they can let you know about it later. She's a Spanish woman. I think that she said she got burned in the towers, and she was kind of going on the circuit of all these talk shows and stuff. And it turned out that she was never there. And it was like a huge kind of ploy.
Wow. Yeah. Awful. No. Yeah. I haven't seen that.
It's an interesting documentary.
I'll look for it. That's terrible. Greg, did you have any questions for this guy?
No, not really. You've covered
I mean,
almost everything.
I just thought maybe he had something. He's been with us for 2 days too, doing a great job holding down the fort, trying to make all this technology work, sweating a little, and also he got emotional during it as well. Like he said to me, "Wow, these guys got me." Gina and Ben, you're my friend. You're a true hero.
Oh, thanks,
I'm humbled and honored to be in your presence and to be here and
thanks for coming
share
down.
your story with our audience.
You and Greg.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime.
You're a hero. You will always be. I think the best thing you said yesterday was something to that extent about not all superheroes wear capes.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. So you're a hero. And I respect the hell out of you, man. And all the guys I met last night playing hockey, them too, and all you guys who go fight. So thank you again. Thank you for going and defending our freedom.
Yeah, man.
And thank you for joining us. We'll have that piece soon for you guys. We'll keep you posted on Ben and everything. And of course, when you're in New York, you're welcome in our studio. But just keep in touch, with the Terrifics and BeTerrific and everything.
And I'll see you, on Monday?
Yeah, Monday.
Awesome.
Yeah. We got 20 years without seeing each other. Yeah. It's like we're spending a whole week together. It's perfect. I'm so proud of you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, dude.
You're the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. I'm Michael Artsis, coming to you from Bethesda, Maryland. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry that it's on an iPhone and the technology has failed us, but we got it to work. So that's one more time. It's PACE, right?
Yeah, PACE.
So it's your primary, alternate, contingency, and then emergency. I remember the emergency one.
There you go.
So there you go. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Be terrific.